This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Ever since his first movie, released after Avengers Age of Ultron, marking the tail end of Phase 2, Ant-Man has always been the runt of the MCU litter. It is therefore an interesting indictment on the current state of the MCU when the upcoming movie Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is, Guardians aside, just about the only MCU project there is any kind of genuine excitement for. The most recent trailer certainly left many pleasantly surprised, but one thing could mar that buzz though, and that is rumors of last-minute reshoots, production trouble, and studio meddling. Alas, that is what we have for you today. In this video, we will begin by going through the reports that Ant-Man Quantumania was in fact undergoing reshoots as late as early January, why these were no normal pickups that all Marvel movies are subject to, and finally, what we have exclusively learned is going on behind the scenes and how that informed those reshoots. So, if you think there is some Marvel shenanigans going on, I don't think I'm spoiling too much by saying already now that there is. And after Phase 4, hearing that may cause some of you to throw your hands in the air in sheer frustration, cancel Disney Plus and take to the high seas for your Marvel fix instead. But to be clear, neither Midnight's Edge nor our sponsors condone piracy, even if Phase 4 kinda sucked. You see, not only is piracy wrong, you would be exposing yourself to endless spyware, tracking software and other malware out there on the high seas. And that's on top of all the data that is stolen from you during all of your regular browsing and sold to third parties. Have you noticed all of the scam and spam emails you're getting? Well, they got your email from those third parties. That's how that happens. There is a fix for all of that though. To protect yourself, you need to protect your data, and a good way of doing that is through a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel-sponsored Surfshark. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety and encrypts all data sent via the internet, thereby protecting your data and you. But there's more. Surfshark allows you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from, which gives some great advantages when it comes to streaming. For instance, you can access 15 different Netflix libraries, all with a different selection of movies and TV series simply by changing your virtual location. Which is easy, because Surfshark has servers in more than 100 countries around the world. On that note, outside of the US, Star, the international version of Hulu, comes bundled with Disney Plus. If you're in the US and change your location to say the UK, well then you just might get Star too. That's pretty good, but it gets even better. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT when ordering, that triggers an exclusive offer of 83% off the normal list price, plus 3 extra months for free. Furthermore, Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. Do check out the link in the description below for further details and to order. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and with that, let us begin with the reports that with the movie just weeks away, reshoots did indeed take place. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is due to be released to the public on February 17th, with industry screenings set to begin in the next couple of weeks. But even so, reshoots were taking place as late as last week. We first learned of this from our good friends over at Small Screen, though the original story comes from the Direct. Their scoop, published January 8th, reads, even though Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is set to release on February 17th and wrapped principal photography over a year ago, new photos have shown Paul Rudd on location still filming shots for the impending threequel. Shooting additional photography this close to a film's release is unprecedented, but even more so considering Ant-Man 3 needs to be complete by early February for early screenings. The reshoots, consisting of pickup shots that took place on January 6th in Los Angeles, appear to involve scenes that have already been shown in Quantumania's marketing. For instance, one photo shows Rudd outside of Bridge Donuts, the same donut shop from the film's trailer. He's even wearing the same clothes as he is when he walks out of the shop. Now, doing reshoots only weeks before a movie is set to open to the public is cutting it tight. But before we move on, let's take a moment to address the counter-argument many will be screaming at their screens right now, namely the Marvel School of Filmmaking. Normally, when we hear of reshoots, that is indicative of a movie in need of work at best and a movie in trouble at worst. But oftentimes, Marvel is an exception to that. Marvel will always and without exception schedule their cast for 2 additional weeks of reshoots while the movie is in post-production, because they know from experience that during the editing process, they'll see the need for some new scenes, typically connective tissue between other scenes. So in the case of Marvel, reshoots are the rule, not the exception. They're called pickups for PR purposes, and even the best of Marvel movies had them. And what is more, the best of Marvel movies were already good movies made even better by those reshoots. However, those pre-planned reshoots are never scheduled to take place mere weeks before the movie is set to open. No, those planned reshoots would have happened months ago. What we're seeing here is something different. The last time we saw reshoots so close to release was on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and that movie was in trouble. The Direct then asks the obvious question that follows from that: is Quantumania in trouble? Here is what the Direct has to say on the matter. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was always going to be an important film. In addition to exploring the quantum realm, the film is also responsible for launching Phase 5 of the MCU and ushering in the debut of Kang the Conqueror. However, it's possible that in light of fan complaints about Phase 4, the film may be under additional pressure, and that may be why it's cutting it so close. On the other hand, since these reshoots appear to be from the film's early, more light-hearted sequences, they could easily be due to a simple continuity error. But as I established earlier, a simple continuity error would have been addressed in the pre-planned reshoots, which took place several months ago. The Direct's first guess, though, that the movie is under additional pressure because Phase 4 was so underwhelming, is in line with what we have heard. Before we proceed, I must state that what we are about to reveal is information that has been provided to us from sources who allege knowledge of the situation. There is, however, no way to independently verify the claims made at this point in time, which is why what we are about to reveal is and must be considered as rumor. With that established, let us explore the rumors we have learned from behind the scenes of the production. From what we were told, Marvel are painfully aware that Phase 4 was a gigantic misfire, with Spider-Man No Way Home being the only project that lived up to expectations. But that was a Sony co-production where Marvel only got a small piece of the pie. None of Marvel's own Phase 4 projects lived up to expectations, neither on the big screen nor on Disney+, and there is allegedly worry that the brand itself has been tarnished. For that reason, the pressure is reportedly on for Ant-Man to deliver and get audiences excited for the future of the MCU again, by way of kicking the multiverse saga into high gear. And here are the good news. Director Peyton Reed, who also directed the previous 2 Ant-Man movies, as well as Luke Skywalker's reintroduction in the Mandalorian episode The Rescue, reportedly fired on all cylinders. What we are hearing is that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is a return to form for Marvel, and the movie is one of the best movies to come out of Marvel for years. Not that that is saying much, but we are nonetheless told that fans will like this movie. Or at the very least, that they would have liked Peyton Reed's original version of it. For all its virtues, the Marvel executives did allegedly have one problem with the cut that Peyton Reed delivered. Apparently, it deviated too much from the Marvel formula. That is to say, it had a compelling story and narrative structure that would keep fans engaged, but what it apparently didn't have was enough jokes, laughs, and trademark Marvel lightheartedness. That, then, is what the reshoots reportedly were aimed at doing. Add jokes and cheap laughs into a by default serious movie with heavy themes, in order to make it more lighthearted and fun for the masses. The reshoots to this end were independently documented on January 6th, as that is when they filmed on location. But apparently, the reshoots to, Marvel up the movie had been going on a closed soundstage for weeks already. So, did this studio meddling make the movie any better? In the opinion of our source, no, quite the contrary. The studio-approved release version is still far better than most Marvel movies released in the last few years, but forcing cheap laughs into what was originally a somber tale allegedly caused some jarring tonal shifts, which were quite detrimental to director Peyton Reed's original vision. The movie-going public will never know, of course, but the version they will be seeing in theaters come February 17th is apparently a cut made worse by studio meddling. But could cheap laughs, even if they come at the price of what is reportedly a superior cut of the movie, be exactly what Marvel needs right now? Marvel executives would appear to think so, but do you? Let me know in the comments, and before you go, remember that to help protect your data and bypass quarrelsome geo-blocking restrictions, you should get Surfshark VPN. Use our code MIDNIGHT to get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. Link is in the description.